Small business is about courage, risk-taking, independence, and we small business owners are survivors. Everybody has an idea for a business, but how do you take that idea from mind to market? This is the place to learn.
Small Business School with Hattie Bryant.
It's a new kind of school. Together we'll learn about business from the inside out, from the people who've done it. We'll meet the men and women who are today's pioneers and quiet heroes. Their lives are the textbooks. Our classroom is the world.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, built just for you, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses. We're where you live your life. We're where you run your business.
Hi, I'm Hattie Bryant, and this is Small Business School. From San Diego to Boston and from Tampa to Seattle, we take you inside small businesses and you learn from the people who run them. In 1995, when he was doing $14 million in sales, Ben Dominance told us how he started Prima Publishing by writing the first book himself. As a musician in the Sacramento Symphony, he decided he was tired of being poor. Today, sales are over 60 million. We hope you have a computer in the room where you're watching TV. Come online now to smallbusinessschool.org. You can learn more about Ben and the dozens of small business owners we have studied here. In beautiful downtown Burbank, and I'm not kidding, that famous suburb of Los Angeles, we found a business doing things the old-fashioned way.
Across the universe, people are asking, what fiend would steal Air Jordans?
Oh, goody! More Air Jordans for me!
This 90-second spot for Nike was their first project. It aired on the Super Bowl.
This is no way for a Pamper superstar to travel.
What the shoes?
And they're all mine.
In 1992, Ashley Quinn and Daryl Van Sitters left Warner Brothers to start their company, Renegade Animation, to have control over their own lives. A lot of small business owners are workaholics.
Yes, they are.
Did you decide early on that that's not the way you were going to run this business?
I had decided that when I worked at the studios, because that's pretty much, I mean, when you work at a studio, you do what comes down the pipeline, and you do it when it has to be done, whatever it takes. And it didn't seem right to me because I see a lot of my friends working over at the Disney Feature Animation Studio, and they are working 7 days a week, long hours in those days. And it didn't seem to me that it needed to be done that way, that with a little better management, a little more organization, it could run smoother.
For me, it was more a feeling of the bigger risk is staying in a place that makes you unhappy. Fundamentally for me throughout my career, which at that point wasn't very long.
You were only 27 when you left.
I am a happy person in general. I have a sunny countenance. I think I was blessed with that. And I won't stay so. I mean, I just was like, this is not for me.
I knew I needed somebody like Ashley to do this because I couldn't do all of it myself. I learned enough to know that I couldn't handle the entire running of a business. And she came to work with me at Warner Bros. As my assistant, and we got along great. She was driven the same way I was driven to get things done. It wasn't about playing the game, it was about getting things accomplished.
Pick your partner like you're picking your spouse. It is almost no less important in your life because this is the person that you're going to spend a lot of time with, that you're going to make important decisions with. You're probably going to go through some hard times with and have to really buckle down and reach deep and figure out how to get through difficult times in your business. And if you're not in sync, you're not going to be happy long term. And we're in sync about how we want our personal lives to be and how we view where work stacks up in our lives. And so that just makes it that much better.
Quite frankly, the whole thing with this business has not been to make money. I didn't start by saying, you know what, I think we can make a lot of money, let's go do this. I did it because I wasn't happy where I was. I didn't like the alternatives out there once I left. So this looks like a good idea to me. We can kind of control our own destiny, and it's just more fun.
What's up, Doc?
It's Bowling for Martians.
With Bugs Bunny.
In the first year, Renegade did $1.2 million in sales, and even though it is slightly larger in sales today, there are only 4 employees.
It says so in my deal.
Jeez, what a pig.
What gave you the nerve to think that you could go out and get an account? How did you get your first piece of business?
Our very first piece of business was a small piece of animation from Mattel, and it came from a post-production facility that we had worked with, and they needed help with the animation and called us. The second one was the Nike spot, the Super Bowl sequel to the one we had done at Warner Brothers. On the strength of that spot, we got an agent, a rep. They're called reps in the commercial business.
What does a rep do, and how much do you have to pay them? Is it a percentage deal?
Yes,
It's
a percentage deal. What we have is we have Andy. His company is called Blah Blah Blah, which is a great
blah, blah, blah.
So Andy's job is to find the storyboards at the ad agencies that have and need animation.
So tell us, what does an ad agency do?
Well, they talk to their clients, and the client says, here's the products we have, here's who we think our customer is, here's how much money we want to spend this year or over the next 3 or 5 years. Come back to us with a plan of how to do that. So the ad agency comes back and says, here's what we think you should do. And at that point, they begin storyboarding and scripting the commercials. And at the point that we get into the process, the storyboards and the script are pretty much approved. And sometimes if we really want the job or if it's necessary, we'll do some spec drawings, or the storyboards that we get tend to be fairly simple. They don't have camera angles in them. They don't have anything like that. So Daryl can take a storyboard and really push it to the next level.
So what is your competitive edge?
Daryl's talent. And I would like to believe my skill as a producer, because I think that people come away from here having had a really smooth experience most of the time. Mm-hmm. But it is Daryl's talent as an animator and his reputation.
You're getting a one director house here. You're not like some of our competitors will have 5, 6, 10 directors, which gives you a lot more breadth because everybody will specialize. Here, if you look at our video, you'll notice that it's extremely varied, that we do a lot of different kinds of animation. And that's part of the fun of doing this kind of thing, is that you can change drawing styles, you can change looks every time you do a different job. So it's fun from that point. I'm always learning that way.
This right now is called direction, because you're, like you said, setting guideposts.
Yes.
And each one of these sheets will have multiple drawings associated with it.
They use this as a guidepost, and it'll hit some of these key poses. Some of them they find, it would be a little smoother if I didn't follow this drawing exactly, if I made an adjustment here or there. But that's what it's there for, is to give you something to go from, rather than having you trying to figure out what I want and what the agency wants and what the client wants. If everybody sees it in this form and say, that's roughly where we're headed, then it's a lot easier. This is basically the Bible for the animation product. Everything plays off of here. All the instructions are on this sheet.
And you're the one that decides if it's on for 1 second or 2 seconds. And you're the one who decides what motion the character is doing while the words are going by.
Right, and you do it the way you think is appropriate.
Ken McDonald explains how he moves Daryl's storyboard through the process.
What Daryl does is he gives me drawings like these. These are the drawings that Daryl did for this scene. Okay. And basically the kid takes the yogurt away and then he delivers his line, silly rabbit. And the rabbit reacts. He says, oh no, you took my yogurt away, which happens every time.
Oh, okay.
With the little boy, I followed Daryl's start and end poses pretty closely, but with the rabbit, we decided to do something a little different at the start and the beginning of the scene, so I altered the poses a little bit. Daryl enjoys that part of the process, and it gives me an opportunity to come up with ideas and be more creative and try and come up with a different expression or an action or an idea to make it even more interesting or entertaining, or to make the communication clearer.
So now tell me what you're going to do.
Alrighty, well, I've done the corrections and changes I wanted to do on this. So I'm going to shoot a pencil test, and it used to be that this was all done on film and it would take 2 or 3 days. And now with the computer, I can pretty much just shoot a pencil test in a matter of minutes. You know, frame by
So
frame.
now it's already up there.
Drawing by drawing. It's already
Okay.
up there.
Okay.
There's one frame.
So this is actually the first time the computer has been injected into this process.
Right.
Okay.
And then when it's all done, I can look at it. And the kid takes the yogurt away and the rabbit size.
So now, what do we get to see?
Okay, now I'm going to take the first scene that I did a couple days ago and the scene you saw me shooting, and we can put it all together and we can see the whole 7 seconds that we're doing and see how it all hooks up together with the sound and everything.
This spring, you'll be in the dark. Wow! Until you open Trix Yogurt.
Silly rabbit.
4 surprise color combinations now in marked packages.
How much do people pay for a 30-second animated commercial?
120 to 180,000
Okay.
per 30 seconds.
Those dollars don't all come to you, though.
Yes,
That
would
would
be
come
just
to you
us.
for
That's
your
just
part.
the animation.
That would-
yeah. So we have over the years kind of honed our skills into saying, okay, this is that kind of job. This is the kind of job where it's only one character or 2 characters. It's simple backgrounds. It's no tones and highlights, which are effects levels that make it more complicated. So that's a, $3,800 per second job versus one that comes in and we see the storyboard and we go, it's with live action, it's got effects, it's got 6 characters, blah, blah, blah. That's going to be about $5,000 a second. So you get sort of as you go, you get, as in any business, I think, to recognize what slot things fit into. And then I get on the phone with the producer and I like to start by saying, how much do you have? Because we can also creatively solve problems for you working backwards from your number.
Okay.
Where I don't want to try and sell you a Mercedes if you can afford a Saturn. I mean, but we can give you a really, really cool looking Saturn. Say that we're looking at the PSA, the Don't Drink and Drive PSA. We know we don't have any money. And we have a great concept, which really doesn't need any bells and whistles because the concept is so very strong. We can do things like, let's put him on a white background. Let's not color him in. The only thing that's colored in is the brain and the beer, which is really the gist of the whole concept anyway. So we save money in ink and paint. We save money in scanning. The animation is quite limited. If you notice, his body will be what we call a held cell, and only his eyes will be moving or only his head will be moving. That's a much smaller drawing than redrawing his whole body each time. So we can look at something and say, this is what we can give you for that. And it's not less. I mean, I'm committed to the idea that aesthetically that was the best way to do that commercial, even if you had $1 million to do it. So then you look at Chester Cheetah, and he is beautifully what we call rendered. When we composite with live action, what we do with the characters is we give them a tone and a highlight on their faces and bodies which match the shadow that's on the live action. So if I were animated sitting with you here, I would have shadows on me the same as they are on you.
Cheesy.
Cheetos!
Dangerously cheesy.
We do as much in-house as we can.
But on the Chester Cheetah,
Chester,
which parts of it are we seeing that you had to outsource?
Right. On Chester Cheetah, what you see that we outsourced is the compositing, which is taking our animation and putting it together, marrying it, we call it, with the live action or with the computer-generated imagery. And that is machinery that we don't need to own except for that little part of the process. And so we can't justify in our own minds going into that part of the business. But more important than the cost to us is it's not what we're good at, and it's not what we like to do. So we're not going to do it.
Okay.
And quite frankly, even if it was slightly more expensive to outsource it, we would still outsource it because the quality of our lives and our experience in the work and what we have energy for is focused on what we want it to be focused on.
When you're working on a feature film, months and months on end, 50, 60 hours a week, and they come in and they say, you have to come in and do 60 hours this week. You got to get your drawings done. Here, I think that's one of the things that Ashley does so well when she's producing the commercials and she's making the schedules. She really takes into account problems that might come up. We have room in the schedule, and she really schedules them so that we can have times for our lives, our own personal lives, and still get the commercial done on time. We're ahead of schedule and the client's happy and we're happy. We're not stressed out.
And what did you say that you would do if they decided to make an animated film in the Disney style with music and stuff?
Oh, I'd leave. If they did that, if they wanted to do a Disney type musical film, I'd leave, because I left that.
You've been there,
I was
done
doing
that.
that, and I wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah.
I think you got to do something different. And even with the TV commercials, we try and do something different. We try to explore new designs and new ideas and new ways of approaching the characters to make them interesting, to cut through the clutter.
Up there!
No, bet it's that woman.
Renegade's customer list includes Dow, Mattel, Campbell's Soup, Barks Root Beer, and Nike. You see their work in commercials, television shows, and video games.
Well, that sends a positive message to the kids.
Next!
When you lose the bid, do you try to do some intelligence around why you lost it?
Usually we know why. I mean, it'll be fairly clear why we lost it. You were not the low bid, and the client said we had to go with the low bid. Now, if they're telling the truth, then I go, okay, well, or they'll say, we just like the sketches the other company did better, and in that case, we actually feel like, okay, good, then you made the right decision, because we're operating in a very subjective area when it comes to art and aesthetics. So at times you just have to go, well, we're probably, and we look at jobs sometimes and we're not the right people for this. We do turn jobs down when we feel like they don't play to our strengths, because we have a feeling that eventually the client would not be happy with what we were giving them, and we would rather turn it down than have a bad experience, because they'll come back to us when they have something that is right.
So that's a good piece of advice.
Very good. And hardly ever do people do it. People think we're nuts to turn down anything, but we're really committed to that.
Is Daryl the one that says no?
Yeah, usually. Or I'll say no, they don't have enough money. I mean, they just don't have enough money to do what they want to do. And we're not going to take a loss on this job. And we're not going to cheap it out and have them be unhappy, because then we've lost them forever.
There's no point in taking a job that you're not interested in and having your work be crummy, because one, you're going to do a bad job if you're not interested in it. The client's going to know you did a bad job, so they're not coming back to you. So if you're doing it just for the money, then you should forget it, because you're not going to get any more work. That's a stupid way to operate.
But I would venture to say that a large percentage of business owners say yes to as much as they can say yes to.
Yeah, and you know what? You make yourself crazy. And it takes a toll on your personal life, it takes a toll on your health, and I think it takes a toll on your business. I think it pays bigger dividends in the long run to take the jobs that interest you the most, because why did you start the business? If you started it just to make money, you might as well be an employee, because you can make money being an employee. But if you really have a passion, then that's what you should follow. You should do it because you believe in X and Y, not because you just want to make money.
If we just say no, we're too busy, or no, it's not right, or no, for that price I can't give you what you want, what you see on our reel that you like is not attainable for that price, and I'd rather turn it down. Those people almost always call again on something else.
Sit, I'll tell you. First the workout, then the hairdresser.
Can I have a taste?
Sorry, silly rabbit.
You may be tempted to take work just for the money. Daryl and Ashley would advise against that practice. They've built a solid business by saying no to projects that don't fit their mission. Learn from them. Clearly define what it is you want, then develop the courage to say no to opportunities that don't fit your mission. Just say no. When did you first fall in love with animation?
I had heard about, through an animator I'd met back in New Mexico, that they were just starting up at California Institute of the Arts a Disney-sponsored animation program, and it sounded pretty cool. So, and it happened to be the ground floor the first year of the program, so I came out to see what would happen.
And that was what year?
1975.
And you were how old?
I would have been about 18.
Okay. Was it like the whole world opened up? I mean, was it just so exciting?
It was pretty cool because I came out to the school and I come across all these other people who thought the same way, who had been watching cartoons and loved them and wanted to do them, which was really strange because the environment I came from, nobody cared about it or anything like that. So you get this group of about 20 people in one room who are all really jazzed on the same thing. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. What does it take to do a business, to make a business successful? It's more than talent.
Sure it is, because, you know, somebody can be talented and not have any idea how to get somebody to see it. Or they can, you know, be working away in a closet and nobody recognizes them. Mm-hmm. No, it's you need persistence, you need people like our reps, you need people like Ashley who can keep the whole thing running. If you don't have that, it's a lot harder. I mean, talent will out, but it really helps if you have the other two.
What other, along the 7 years, decisions have you made that you go, that was a good decision?
Right. Some of the decisions that we've made, actually some fairly recently, to up the level of some of the other outsourcing we do in terms of our accounting firm, and letting them do a little more than they had been doing. I want to get rid of it, but I want to be as in touch with it as I am. So how do you do it? What kind of reporting are we going to set up?
Yeah.
You know, how am I going to monitor that process?
It is scary.
Oh, yeah, very.
To turn the checkbook over to somebody.
Absolutely.
Like,
whoa. Yeah.
So it's really not true that entrepreneurs are like leather and have no feelings and no fears.
No, it's not true at all. Oh no, it's not true at all.
Because there are times you get in and you go, what the hell was I thinking? I must have been out of my mind. And you know, when you're having trouble sometimes, you know, you just go, there's got to be an easier way. Well, there is an easier way, but it's not more fulfilling. You know, you go be an employee someplace, but it's not, you'll still regret that if you do it.
Did you think this is soul food?
I guess you could argue that, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm doing this because I tried the other and I can't do the other. I don't feel comfortable in a corporate environment. I'm doing this because I have to do it.
With our 4 people, you know, we also have 35 freelance artists working all the time. So we're bigger than we seem, but you're going out there and you are really saying, no, really, we can do this. I mean, we produced that Nike Super Bowl spot out of Daryl's garage. I mean, we are the classic story that you hear. And it was just like, well, okay, we're gonna do this. You just do it.
Small business owners are notoriously independent, but there's an organization that Ashley belongs to that is perfect for the non-joiner. Incoming president of the Young Entrepreneurs Organization, Millage Hart, explains. So, Millage, what is the YEO?
The Young Entrepreneurs Organization is a group of entrepreneurs around the world who get together for education, fun, social interaction, and really have a peer group.
All right, young means something. What does young mean?
Young means you get kicked out when you're 40.
I'm so glad to know it goes up to 40. So what are the other criteria that one must meet to be in the YEO?
To be in YEO, you need to be a founder, co-founder, or controlling shareholder of a business with revenue in excess of $1 million.
And under 40 years old.
You must join before you're 38. There's graduate organizations that you can go into after 40. Primarily what YEO intends to do is to educate its members with the best resources in the world.
So you're an education organization. How is it that you deliver these educational components?
Well, there's 3 primary ways we deliver that. The first is the monthly education events by chapter in the cities. The second is the forum group, and the third is the international events.
Could you draw some conclusions about the type of person that is in the group?
Well, typically YEOers are non-joiners. So the vast majority of the group doesn't want to be a part of an organization because they don't think they'll get much from it. So that's one thing we find a lot of the times, and a lot of times people don't think they have time. They're very, very busy people. And what we always find out, and the more time you spend on YEO, the better off you are, the better off your business is.
How does one join?
The best way to find out about YEO is on the web.
We've met others here who belong to YEO. In Boston, Vicki Bondock took us to her forum where YEO members help each other solve problems.
I'm in this group because it gives me the opportunity to build relationships with other business owners who are experiencing some of the same issues that I'm going through on a day-to-day basis.
Ashley reports some new developments. They have sold a television pilot to Cartoon Network and developed an animated series for the web. She says that these two projects are helping them achieve their goal of becoming content creators as well as service providers. A little late to the web, Renegade did it right the first time. If you take a look, I think you'll agree that renegadeanimation.com shows well on the web. Remember what we learned from Ashley and Daryl. Say no to work that doesn't fit your goals. I'll see you next week.
Small Business School is made possible by support from IBM. We're not just for big business anymore. At our website, built just for you, discover how technology can move your business forward. When it's your business, everything matters. IBM. And the United States Postal Service, delivering the promise to America's 23 million small and growing businesses.
If you want to learn more about starting, running, and growing a business, come to our website, smallbusinessschool.org. There are streaming video and interactive study guides. The only way we can compete with big business is to be faster, smarter, and better. We are the engine of the American economy. We create the jobs. Small business is about big commitment. It's about sacrifice and struggle. But we do it because we say, if I don't do this, my life won't be complete.